Alleluia, 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 Alleluia. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While some people were speaking about how the temple was adorned with costly stones and votive offerings, Jesus said, "All that you see here, the days will come when there will not be left a stone upon another stone that will not be thrown down." Then they asked him, "Teacher, when will this happen? And what sign will there be when all these things are about to happen?" He answered, "See that you not be deceived. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and the time has come. Do not follow them. When you hear of wars and insurrections, do not be terrified, for such things must happen first, though it will not immediately be the end." And he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be powerful earthquakes, famines, and plagues from place to place. And awesome sights and mighty signs will come in the sky." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So this week we've been reading from the book of Daniel, and we're starting to get into some of the famous visions in the book of Daniel. There's two famous dreams that are recounted in the prophecy of Daniel, and we got to hear from the first dream today. Basically, the story goes is that King Nebuchadnezzar, he had a disturbing dream, and he had all these wise men, these magi, in his court, and he wanted them to prove their effectiveness. And so he asked them to interpret the dream for him. But not only to interpret the dream, but to tell him what his dream was, which of course was very frightening to the Magi. They thought, surely we can interpret their dream, but we have to at least know what it was, right, in order to do so. And so the prophet Daniel, when King Nebuchadnezzar, out of anger, he basically said that he was going to put all of the Magi to death until somebody could do this. And of course the prophet Daniel interceded. And he asked God for understanding and wisdom, and God revealed to him the dream and what it meant. What was the dream? The dream essentially was about a statue. And the statue was made out of 4 different pieces of material. It was made out of iron and bronze and gold and silver. And so Daniel recounted all these things to King Nebuchadnezzar, and then he interpreted the dream for him. And the interpretation is something about the book of Daniel that many scholars, it's the reason why many scholars, they're skeptical about the book of Daniel. Because the interpretation that Daniel gives to the dream is so accurate to what happened in world history that many scholars, they claim, well, this book of Daniel must have been written centuries after this happened, after all these things were already fulfilled. Because we modern scholars, we recognize that miracles and prophecy don't actually happen. Right? So somebody had to have written this into the story later on. And there's a number of reasons why modern scholars are wrong about this. Archaeologists continue to discover evidence for the fact that this book of Daniel was written much earlier than some of those modern scholars say. But what was the fulfillment of this prophecy? Daniel claimed that after King Nebuchadnezzar and his kingdom, there would rise up 3 more kingdoms. And of course, that's what happened in world history. The kingdom of Medo-Persia took over after Babylon, and then the kingdom of Greece. And as Daniel says, it filled the whole earth. Remember, Alexander the Great, he basically conquered the known world to the people reading these stories, setting everything up for the Roman Empire, which was the 4th kingdom. And Daniel said that in the midst of that 4th kingdom, there would be another kingdom that would rise. And it would basically shatter all those other kingdoms. And it would truly be a worldwide kingdom. It would happen from a stone sown from a mountain, not being made by any human hands. One of the ways that Jesus referred to himself in the Gospels was the cornerstone. And so all the early church fathers, right, all the early Christians, they saw this as a prophecy of the church. That last and final kingdom, which puts an end to all the other kingdoms, is the universal kingdom, the church, founded on Christ, the cornerstone. And that is indeed what happened, again, if you read world history, you read about all these pagan kingdoms, and then about how the church basically took over the world. Even today, on every nation, every continent, right, there are churches, crosses. The presence of Christ is known in every nation, even where it is persecuted. This is one of the beautiful things about the Middle Ages, and one of the sadness about our modern culture is that in the Middle Ages, basically, you didn't have nation states. You had small kingdoms, but everybody was under the headship of the universal kingdom of the church. And it put a great limit on the amount of violence and wars that took place in the Middle Ages. And we've seen in our modern day what happens when there's no overarching kingdom to unite all nations. We just went through the deadliest century on record. So it's a beautiful prophecy of Prophet Daniel. Not only is it accurate, but it shows forth what the church actually is. It is supposed to be the last and final kingdom which encompasses the whole earth.